Hey everyone, I hope you're in the mood for another Microscope video. Thanks everyone that's been tuning in. I appreciate it. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And let's get into what is a set of fakes that I have, including the numeral here on the microscope. These are from EX Emerald. Right away, holding them, it's pretty obvious that we have fakes. I mean, that's going to look a little bit off because of the green screen, but you can kind of see the insane amount of gloss that's on there. I almost need another camera. Probably should have the table cam as well so that we could do this without the green screen, but I think you get the idea, and we'll see them, or at least one of them, under the microscope. Let's go with the electrode. These not only feel, but you can see the shine on them. They look pretty much waterproof. So if they weren't dead giveaway fakes, then you probably haven't held a Pokemon card before. But let's take a look anyway to see what they messed up on. So again, we got some pretty nice clean text. Good sign. Our border is not looking right. We don't have that solid yellow that we want to see. We have a lot of magenta in there. We do have a rosette, so it was printed professionally. That's looking a little off. Do we have another? I guess we don't have an evolution one handy to look at that box to see if that's correct, but certainly something that we could look at. We can look at our colorless energies and the rosette patterns in these dimples that are in the EX series. Down at the bottom, we get some weird things going on with the fighting energy symbol. We have a red dot error. It seems that fake cards even can have red dots. We got our text down at the bottom that we'll be able to compare to a real card. And mainly, I think the biggest thing that's standing out on this, just taking a quick look at it, other than the fact that the card is insanely glossy, is the text. And then the damage numbers here are certainly standing out a little bit to me. All right. The set symbol. I don't have an EX Emerald card on hand, but I'm sure that looks off as well. On the back here, we have a similar issue with the border that's not solid blue. We have all sorts of little dots in it. Some edge wear on this guy. This guy was played with on the playground. We'll be able to check our P. You can already tell right away that that's looking off. The color on the back is certainly not what you'd expect from a Pokemon card, at least not the typical one. And it looks like our rosette is there on the Pokeball, but not as clean as it should be. Likely due to it being scanned or replicated. Alright, so today for our comparison, we got this little Charmander here, or Delta species Charmander. And let's take a look at the side by side. So maybe we'll start with the top border, Charmander being on top. So certainly a thicker border on the bottom one. We can tell that we have less speckle in our border. Now if we pull this down, we don't have the same numbers, but we do have the same energy type. So those should match up. We can get them on screen here. See the difference in the energy symbol. We can see that both the HPs, we'll put them up here, both the HPs are pretty crisp. This being the real card, so actually the fake card is a little bit more crisp than the actual card itself. and I don't know if that has anything to do with the cardstock that it's on. It very well could. Where it's so glossy, it might just not absorb in, so become less blurry, I guess you would call it. Our font is similar, but definitely off. You can see, I think the biggest giveaway on those, even though we don't have two 5s to compare, we do have a couple zeros here up at the top, and those are certainly not the right font, not the same font. Our dots, it's too bad we don't have the delta species thing, are much darker on the fake electrode. Rosette pattern is pretty close. We got an R there that we can compare. Charmander and electrode. So we can see that the font is slightly different, but extremely close. It's crazy how dark the text is on the fake card. Alright, let's compare our damage numbers here. See if we can get them right in the middle. So we got our 20 and our 20. The card isn't lined up at the same spot, so we're just comparing our, I don't know if there's a best way to put that on there. 20 and our 20. Maybe we gotta put them sideways. Sideways so we can get everything on screen at once. And, I mean, you could certainly, alright, 20, 20, 20. You can certainly tell the difference between the zeros there. The 2 is pretty close, but also different. Overall, not a terrible fake if it wasn't for the fact that the card was so glossy. Let's compare our text down at the bottom. So in our retreat cost, so we have quite a difference there in our energy symbols. The top one that I'm moving right now is the fake, real one being on the bottom. Let's do our font of our serial code here in the bottom. Now, these aren't going to match regardless, but we can take a look at the font to kind of see if we have something similar. It looks like the font is pretty close, but certainly a little bit thicker or more bold on the fake card. Set symbols are not identical, and those aren't really clean to begin with. The set number looks pretty good on first glance. Not really the weak point of this fake. So here we go. Real card is on the bottom. Fake card is the one that I'm moving right now on top. Border does not look the same as a real card. And then if we get into the rosette pattern, much cleaner on the real card there than it is on the fake. Again, probably due to being scanned. We have, turn this way, let's compare our P's. Let's see if we can get them both on camera here. Yeah, there we go. So our P's, fake card here. And we don't have that clean kind of deviation within our P. It does have that yellow side on it, but certainly not as prominent as it should be on a real card. Trying to think of what else we picked apart on this. So real card, Pokeball, fake card, Pokeball. Fake card, pretty messy inside our white on our Pokeball versus real card, super uniform. It's almost like a snowflake kind of effect that it has, or a fingerprint that really distinguishes this from others, even though They look pretty good sometimes. It's never going to be exact. I guess we haven't yet, but we could also look at this is the real card right now. The button on the Pokeball. So you could use that as another point of reference to distinguish whether it's real or not. It's kind of the nice thing about the English cards, haven't changed backs since they came out. So everything's going to be pretty well identical on those. Should we check the core on this guy? Haven't yet, so let's do that, and then we can call it a day. Again, this one doesn't so much require the fact that you look under the microscope or with a loop, as I've suggested. You can get a loop, even like a 30x, for a couple dollars on eBay. So here we go. We got our cardstock. This is our real Charmander that we're looking at right now, and we'll get them on the middle there and try and keep them. We need a little bit more light. We need a little bit more focus. There we go. We can see our core, graphite core, that kind of merges the two pieces of paper. Awesome. And now the fake electrode. Pretty good feeling that there is not going to be a core inside here, but it'd be kind of neat to find a fake that does have a core. So here we go. I'm not sure what they use. Maybe the graphite is just like an extra expensive thing that, or proprietary thing that the other companies don't do, or the companies that are making fakes anyway. They might just have one solid piece and they print both sides, which is why you might see more stuff offset than usual. So as you can see there, we got our front and our back, but we don't have a core in the middle. Fake card. Awesome. Thanks guys for tuning in for these. It's a pretty fun thing to look through all my fakes. I have a big pile of them. As I purchased collections, I ended up with a lot. So ended up kind of putting them all to the side. It was kind of a neat thing to have a bunch of fake cards. And I'm kind of glad that I did now for the ability to reference them. Anyway, nothing super obscure. Most of them are just trying to imitate the actual cards. So it's kind of fun to see the differences now. These were all pulled aside because I noticed they were fake without actually looking under the microscope. Now looking under the microscope, you can see just how many different little details have to be absolutely perfect in order for the card to be legitimate. And if they're just trying to bang them out and sell them to people as a cheap alternative, they're not going to go through the extra process of making all these things perfect, or even getting close. They're just going to try and make a card that looks like a Pokemon card that at first glance, maybe even through a sleeve in a binder across the room, looks like a real Pokemon card. Alright guys, thanks a bunch. Thanks to everyone that subscribed. If you haven't already, hit that down below, and I'll see you in the next one.